anything and everything that they are representing, in some ways or the other, you start hating all of those things, whether it is religion, tradition, custom, culture. You just hate whatever comes from their mouth. Yeah, because you feel on the inside that they're using these things, and there's a voice inside of you, who keeps reminding you that they are using all of these things just to abuse me. That's it. They don't mean anything. Rules don't apply to them. They are not scared of God. Only they are pressuring me to be scared of God. Only they are telling me to be afraid of God. Why can't I be in love with God? Why can't I, be friends with God? Why? Hey everyone, I hope everyone is doing good and taking good care of themselves. So today I'm going to talk about, the different ways narcissistic parents use God and religion to protect themselves and avoid blame, evade accountability and responsibility, and shift blame onto the others. And before I get going, I would request you all to like, share, subscribe the channel, hit the notification bell so you guys are updated whenever we put out a new content. So it's every narcissist's wet dream to play God, to be seen as God. Yeah, and that's why we get to hear these things quite often, in our family, around us, in society, in a lot of cultures, that parents are next to gods. If you disrespect your parent, you're disrespecting God. So these are, of course, phrases to gaslight the victim and to enable and empower the narcissist. But at the core, these narcissistic individuals have extreme hunger and craving for attention, admiration. They want to be the center of the universe. They want to be the one who is seen and look up to, and everyone else is beneath them. They want to be the ones on whom no rules apply. Yeah, no rules are applicable on them. No law, no rules, regulation is applicable on them. They are above everything. Yeah, they are infallible, godlike individual, and people are respecting them, people are honoring them, people are bowing down, holding their hands and worshiping and seeking their mercy and forgiveness, seeking their attention. So these narcissistic individuals have these cravings. They want these things from their victim. Attention, admiration, to be the center of the universe, to be the controller, to be the one who would set the rules. Yeah, so these are the things that they love doing with their victim. And these narcissistic individuals, they thrive on that. It's like oxygen for them. I mean, for us, air, rain, food, these are essential things. But for narcissistic individual, attention, admiration, validation, appreciation, a lot of people around them to serve them and tell them how amazing they are. These are their primary source for sustenance. Yeah, I mean, they can live without food, but they cannot live without admiration, attention, and minions around them with whom they can play with. Yeah, so of course, priorities are different for healthy individual. Priorities are different for narcissistic individuals. Priorities are different. So coming to the different ways these narcissistic parents use God, religion, scripture, I mean, to abuse you, to control you, and at the same time protect themselves and shift the blame. I personally feel that religion, scripture, tradition, all of these things are an amazing platform for these narcissistic parents to do their dirty dance. Yeah, because it shields them, it protects them. there are a lot of verses, where, everyone is, held accountable for their bad action. But these narcissistic individuals, narcissistic parents, they cherry pick verses. Yeah, parents are next to God. There is heaven under the feet of your mother. Your father is the doorway to heaven, and all that crap. They are not going to mention that, um, you should not provoke your kids, you should not, mistreat your children. They are not going to talk about those, areas, sections, and, verses. But they are going to cherry pick and, use those verses that, helps them evade accountability and responsibility, that protects them and gets their work done. That's it. So these narcissistic parents are very manipulative. I mean, all of them are. But they like using God and religion, and they use God and religion in a lot of weird ways. So these narcissistic parents are big time into using God and religion, to aid and enable themselves, evade accountability and responsibility, and in general just protect themselves. Yeah, they do this in a lot of weird ways. I mean, we are not going to, talk about all of those ways, they use God and religion. I mean, I have shortlisted a couple of them, I mean, the common ones. So these narcissistic parents, they don't spare anything, when it comes to controlling their children, when it comes to, building a false facade, when it comes to, distorting things, when it comes to manipulating things, abusing individuals. They can go to any extent. Yeah, they will use their backstory to protect themselves. They will use the relationship to protect themselves. They will use history to protect themselves. They will use tradition, religion, God to protect themselves. So, any of these subjects and topics, I mean, in the hands of a narcissistic parent, becomes an awful topic and subject. Yeah, it is so misused that you will start hating these topics and subjects. Yeah, because till the time I was with my narcissistic parent, I was hating these scriptures. I was hating all of the religious things, and all those protocols, do's and don'ts. I used to hate it. Now when I am away from such influence, I see things in a different way. I won't say that I'm religious. No, I'm not. But I view things differently now. Earlier, I was just, tired of, all these, things, scriptures and this and that. But now, when I'm reading it independently, whether it is Genesis, Testament, Old Testament, New Testament, Book of Enoch, various other, books, Quran, Torah. Now, when I read it independently and, they are not around, I process things differently. Earlier, I was just irritated and annoyed with them and the way how they used to represent scriptures and religion. I was just done. I was so irritated and annoyed that, I was literally in a state to, speak shit. I mean, speak anything, abuse religion, abuse, scriptures. I was in that kind of a mode because I was so irritated, because they had, a hell lot of explanation for every nonsense they used to do or they used to put me through. They had explanation for anything and everything. I was not allowed to laugh because God will burn me in hell. I was not allowed to bathe naked because, Satan is going to laugh and giggle. I was not allowed to dance because then my chained, with flames of hellfire. I mean, it was so annoying that I started developing hatred towards, scripture and religion and all of these things. I was hating all of these things, maybe past, 6, 7 years, I was hating it. But when I started reading all of these things by myself, when I started, reading it with an open mind, I process things differently. I see that, I mean, People might call it, divine intervention or whatsoever, but I see it's mostly accounts of, paleo contact. I mean, it's a kind of a contact, of human and someone who's not of a human origin. Yeah, I see it that way. Others are free to see however they wish and please. So, at least I'm reading these things. I am delving into these subjects. I'm trying to understand, decipher, decode. Earlier, these topics were like a red flag for me. Whenever someone used to talk about religion, whenever someone used to talk about scripture, I was like, I'm done. Just fuck off. I don't need to hear religion. I don't need to hear scripture. But now when I, go through these things, I see things differently. Now I don't have hatred towards these things. Yeah. Because, I'm reading it independently. I'm processing things in my own way. And, there is no manipulation. Yeah, I mean, whatever, is there in the scriptures, I'm just reading it and, analyzing the way it is. But when it comes, through someone or via someone, a lot of adulteration happens, and that's what these narcissistic parents do. And that is what really frustrates, individuals. I was frustrated with, religion and scriptures, and I'm sure, a lot of you must be frustrated as well. Yeah, because it's coming from them and it's not a healthy version. It's really suffocating and choking. So now coming to the topic, of today's video, and that is the different ways these narcissistic parents, use God and religion. The first way these narcissistic parents, use God and religion to protect themselves and to evade accountability and responsibility and to, shift the blame is by, telling you that, God told me to do this for you. God told me to do that for you. God told me. Yeah, I have been told by God to do this, and that, yeah, with you in your life. Yeah. And again, the entire idea and objective is to control you. This, I mean, these kind of statement, this simply, makes you feel scared, to question them, because you feel scared, because if I'm questioning them, I'm questioning God. And since childhood, we are trained not to question God. Yeah. And when parents are saying that they have been informed by God to do this and that with you, you feel scared. Yeah, as it is, they have, implanted that fear inside of you, that you need to be scared of God. Yeah, you don't need to love God, you need to be scared of him, you need to be scared of her. I mean, you need to be scared of this God, that goddess. You are not, educated, or you are not, informed to love them and to, connect with them in a loving manner. Yeah, I mean, if you don't pray, you'll go to hell. If you don't do this, God is going to punish you. If you don't do that, God is going to do this. So, as kids, we are not, uh, very much in love with God. We are scared of God because of our narcissistic parents, the way how they represent. See, I mean, it's absolutely your decision whether you want to believe in God or not. I mean, that's a personal thing. But the way how these narcissistic parents, project certain things, it actually, changes the way how you feel about things. It changes the way how you perceive things. It, in a way, uh, changes the way how you perceive and process things, and as a result of which, anything and everything that they are representing, in some ways or the other, you start hating all of those things, whether it is religion, tradition, custom, culture. You just hate whatever comes from their mouth. Yeah, because you feel on the inside that they're using these things, and there's a voice inside of you, who keeps reminding you that they are using all of these things just to abuse me. That's it. They don't mean anything. Rules don't apply to them. They are not scared of God. Only they are pressuring me to be scared of God. Only they are telling me to be afraid of God. Why can't I be in love with God? Why can't I, be friends with God? Why do I have to be scared of God? Yeah. So, these narcissistic parents have their own unique way to control you, manipulate you, and to, evade accountability and responsibility for their action and behavior. So, this is a very common, statement that we get to hear from these narcissistic parents. Yeah, that God told me to do this. God has advised us as parents to do this and that. Yeah. And you can't, challenge God. Yeah, he's not there. And it's bad, it's blasphemous to challenge God. So the best thing is surrender and suffer in silence. The other way these narcissistic parents use God and religion to protect themselves and avoid blame is by, you know acting holy, to look like good people. Yeah, so they are going to overdo things, hang a big cross, go to church on Sundays regularly, go to mosque on Fridays. They will put in extra effort to show themselves, to reflect themselves as holy, good, pious individual. But on the contrary, their actions are absolutely opposite. They'll be abusing you, torturing you, tormenting you, comparing you, shaming you. They will do all sorts of things. But on the outside, they are seen as very holy, very spiritual individual. Yeah. And this is their way to protect themselves. Yeah. And, if anything goes wrong, or, if anything happens, or if there is any kind of argument or situation, and if you reach out to others, and if you, tell them that so and so thing is happening, my parents are doing this and that, others are not going to believe you. Yeah, because they are already putting in effort. I mean, your narcissistic parents are already putting in a lot of effort and energy in showing themselves as holy, sacred, good, spiritual individuals. Yeah, so people are not going to believe you. They are going to say, ah, come on, she's such a God-fearing woman. She can never do that. Stop, cooking stories. Don't accuse your mother, for anything. She's a very good lady. Your daddy is so pious. Oh, come on, stop making stories. He's a very good man. We know him from past 20 years. From past 20 years, he has not, missed a single Friday prayer. He is a great, noble man, and we respect him. So, it helps them. Yeah, people, perceive them as, amazing, spiritual, holy individuals. Yeah. And this is how they protect themselves. This is how, they project, a kind of an image in front of the others that enables them, and that supports them, and that protects them, and they can evade accountability and responsibility. Yeah, I mean, when you'll confront them, they'll say, do you think I can ever do bad with you? Don't you see how much I pray? Don't you see how pious I am? I mean, do you guys think that I can ever do bad with my daughter? Do you think so? No. I fear God. Yeah. And I never do anything bad with my son. I never do anything bad with my daughter. So they can, turn things around. Yeah. When you confront them, or when you hold them accountable. Yeah. They build a network that emboldens them, that supports them, that enables them, and that, protects them and whitewashes their, evil deeds. The other way these narcissistic parents use God and religion to protect themselves and avoid blame is by, using religion to make you feel guilty. So they are going to cherry pick verses, and then they are going to tell you, um, God, tells everyone to forgive whoever has hurt them. Yeah, and then you will automatically feel guilty. Rather than holding them accountable, you will just, forgive them. You will feel guilty for being angry, yeah, with them, yeah, for their action and behavior. Yeah, because God said to forgive everyone. So, I mean, how can I be angry with my parents? So let me just forgive them, and let me, just get over with this, and let me start over again. Let me, give them room, space, and opportunity to treat me, like shit again in a new way. Yeah. So these narcissistic parents have a lot of tricks up their sleeves, plus religion, scriptures, spirituality, these things are like playground for narcissistic parents. They can really play the dirty game. The other way these narcissistic parents use God and religion to protect themselves and avoid blame is by, blaming everything on God's plan. Yeah, so it's God's plan. God wanted this. God, has different plans for you. Yeah, and this is the way, how they never take accountability, and they never tell you that it's my fault, I'm so sorry. Yeah, they simply get away saying, well, maybe this was something that God had planned for you. Maybe God had different plans for you. I mean, it's all God's will. It's all because of God. So, the thing is that they are going to do horrible things with you. And when you confront them, they are not going to tell you, I'm so sorry. They're going to shift the blame on God. Maybe it was because of God. God controls anything and everything. Yeah. They are not going to say that, I'm sorry, I have ruined your this and that. No. They are simply going to shift the blame on God. It's God's will. Yeah. I mean, I'm not to be held responsible and accountable for this. Everything is because of God. Yeah. And now, where will you find God? Can you go and confront and question God? Can you get angry with God? No. And the other way how these narcissistic parents use God and religion to protect themselves and avoid blame is by, staying in religious groups. Yeah. They feel safe by staying in religious groups. They will always be a part of some pack and community. I mean, to tell you honestly, I am a spiritual person. Um, I'm not a religious person. I do things in my own way. I definitely, try and connect with entities. I don't believe in God, someone who's angry and punishing. I don't believe in that. But yes, I believe in entities and forces and energies. And I have my own way and I have my own practice to connect to them. Yeah. But I mean, I don't subscribe to, that angry sky daddy in heaven. I don't believe in that. I personally feel, I mean, there are lots of entities. I don't necessarily worship them, but yes, I study about them. I try and connect with them. I meditate on them. So, my way of practicing is different. I'm not a religious person, I'm spiritual. I mean, for me, it's more important, how I feel on the inside rather than how I'm being seen on the outside. That's not important. If someone sees me as, someone who's an atheist or who's not a believer, it's absolutely okay. You are free to process things however you wish and please, but I need to feel satisfied. I need to connect. I need to, feel things. Yeah, I mean, in order to believe. If I don't feel things, I don't believe on those things. Yeah. So yes, I do believe in, higher forces, energies. I do believe in entities because I have had, personal experiences. But yes, the usual, God that we talk about, I'm not into that. I don't subscribe to that story. I mean, you guys are free to believe whatever you want, but I don't believe in that. Yeah, that's what my viewpoint is. I mean, everyone else is free to do whatever they want. But yes, I'm spiritual, not religious. Now, coming back to these narcissistic parents, so you will always see them in some kind of a pack and a herd and group. Yeah, and that's how they feel safe. They feel protected. They feel as if they are not alone. Yeah, so if you are going to hold them accountable, they will start crying and howling, and they will summon their folks, and then they are going to further torment you. They are going to tell you, can't you see your mother is so religious? Can't you see your father is so religious? He's so holy, she's so holy. I mean, he sacrificed so much, she sacrificed so much. So by staying in such group and community, or by being a part of such community, religious groups and communities, they feel safe. They feel that they have a damage control team around them, yeah, who will come and rescue them whenever they are in shit, or whenever things go out of hand. They know who they can rely on, yeah, all the people from that community and group, yeah, they're going to come and help them. They're going to come and whitewash their evil deed, and that's it. So I mean, for these narcissistic parents, people in those groups and communities are nothing more than flying monkeys. To tell you honestly, these narcissistic parents, they don't respect them. They don't have any feeling and emotion towards them. They are just another source of supply for these narcissistic parents, yeah. But yes, I mean, the setup is different. It's under the guise of religion, it's under the guise of spirituality and god-fearing individuals, yeah, church goers, blah blah blah. But to tell you honestly, I mean, it's my observation, and yes, I have worked with a lot of victims who have survived such families. These religious narcissistic parents, who present themselves as very religious, are the most abusive ones, yeah. And they really do nasty things. I have seen a lot of molesters, abusers and rapists being extremely religious on the outside. And the other side is, of course, horrible. But yes, they had been very punctual with prayer services. They had been very punctual with their salats or puja, or any kind of prayer and religious gathering. They were very religious. And the other side is that they are into molesting, abusing and doing all sorts of bad things with individuals who are vulnerable and weak. So yes, these narcissistic parents, uh, they don't leave any opportunity to use religion and scriptures to enable them and help them evade accountability and responsibility for their action and behavior. So yes, that was it. In case if you would like to add in something, you can always comment below. Till then, take care of yourself. Lots of love and blessings to all of you. Bye.